Hey there, friendlies. How's up? I realized, well, actually, Mallory pointed out I had started the studio at like a 9:15, even though I was planning to come on at 9:30. And of course, as soon as I started the studio, YouTube put me up as live. So so yeah, 5 minutes early is better than being late, right? So who I got with me here? I got Mr. Fox, it's here. Quebec Homestead. How's it going, both of you? Grace, nice to see you. Chris Garland, hi. Welcome to the live stream. So what are we talking about tonight? A few things. The main subject for this evening is going to be prepping for the growing season. There are a whole cross section of the people I know who are really into the growing season. There's like the homemaker, the housewife or house husband kind of person. There are people who just love growing stuff. And then there's like homesteaders, obviously, and preppers and bushcrafters. It only sounds like a really boring thing to be interested in. And in fact, it's funny because that hits on something else. Until I met a bunch of preppers through YouTube, I had never thought I would ever hear a bunch of guys talking about canning and making preserves. But it makes perfect sense, right? If you're a serious prepper and you're not thinking about growing your own food or canning and putting stuff up for later, then you're pretty much just playing with guns. So I guess it makes sense. It's just if you don't know a bunch of preppers and bushcrafters and stuff, you don't think that people are still thinking about that kind of stuff. It's like grandma does canning and gives me beets every now and again kind of deal. But it's not that. There are a lot of people who take this stuff seriously as a self-sufficiency thing. They take it seriously as a means of taking control over what they eat and put in their bodies. I know I'm very interested in that part myself. Not being beholden to large corporations. And so I think this might be an interesting. I'm looking for the invite button here. I think this might be something interesting to talk about. I have a garden. I'm not a huge gardening expert, but I do have a book here that I helped make back in a different life, which is the Canadian Illustrated Guide to Green Gardening. So this is when I was working at Reader's Digest. I was there for about a half decade. And I'm not trying to sell you the book. I don't even know if you can even get it anymore, but it's, it goes through all those zones in Canada. And there's a lot of stuff for, here's delphinium. So there's flowers, but there's also a lot of food crops in here. And there's a large section on plant illnesses and parasites and how to deal with both without going the chemicals route. So I learned a lot while doing this book, and I've forgotten it all. Before I did this book, it had never occurred to me that you could order boxes of like ladybugs and stuff like that for for pest control. I thought it never occurred to me that like you could get a box of bugs that were frozen and hibernating, and then release them into your garden, and they could act as pest control. Good bugs eat bad bugs or kill off bad bugs. So who else have we got here with us here? So I noticed that. Excuse me. Sorry, I was not fast enough to mute that. I noticed that as I was blithering on, more and more people were saying hi and stuff. Brandon's here. How's it going? Nice to see you. Raspberry Brock, otherwise known as Russell or Bubbles. Nice to see you. Russell, I bet you've got a big-ass garden or something. Mark, how's it going? Simon, comment ça va? Didn't somebody say that? Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't scrolled down to the bottom yet. Mal has bangs now. Right. Ian the Weblord, how's it going? Oh, no. I totally misspelt my... Thanks for... Damn it. I wonder if I could fix that. Hey, Shawnee is here. Let me see if I can distract you guys with Mal while I try to fix my title here.
How are you guys?
All is well. All is well.
Yeah, I have a surprise for Russell.
I think you do.
Yeah. But Fox, now that you talk about it, I mean, I guess I could have bangs. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
That is not going to get old anytime soon, is it?
No, it's gonna be fun. Yesterday I was rolling with fun with all these filters.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna pop out the other ones in a little while. So gardening.
Yeah, gardening. I think it's the time for it, right? It's the season. I know my daughter and I have been, starting our seeds lately. We started actually last month, I think it was.
Yeah.
I've got some seedlings coming in at my daughter's school. They're doing a fundraiser through plantables.ca. So I just ordered some things, some stuffs to add in. But we've got a very small garden.
Yeah.
So we have to maximize our space,
Yeah, do like the square foot gardening and all that stuff and just planting everything together.
Gonna have to do something like that. Because when we
Yeah.
first moved in, we had the entire a whole strip, about a 4-foot strip down the side of the garage. But then my wife put a pool in the backyard, so now we've got a very small little chunko garden.
Yeah, a pool will take a lot of space, huh?
Yeah. Oh, Shawnee just said something interesting about what I was mentioning. There was a guy who ordered the wrong kind of praying mantis. They hatched and ate all the butterflies. Now she has to get rid of them. Whoops.
Oh no.
Why
Yeah,
would
there
they
was
even
someone.
sell that kind of praying mantis?
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Not that big though. Yeah, but I'm sure you've got something interesting growing. Some cool stuff. I'm just okay.
I got a whole bunch of stuff started in my greenhouse, but I'm gonna go to the local nursery. It's opening on the 8th, I think, next Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be going to buy a whole bunch of stuff because I don't have big enough space to fill in everything that I have, like all my space in
Right.
the gardens.
Okay. I was going to say, Hike with Mike says he used to get the praying mantis eggs and release them in my garden years ago. Contrary to popular belief, gardening in Florida is difficult because of the huge amount of insects that eat all the plants. You know who I would love to have been on this episode would be our buddy in Hawaii.
Yeah, Johnny, for sure.
Yeah.
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 That really hot climate, and he gardens year round.
His garden is busting at the seams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got a green thumb, that dude. That's for sure.
He really does.
That's for sure. So, I mean, all right. So what I've been doing to prepare is just planting, in those little pots that are made of jute or something that disintegrate over time.
Yeah, like the egg carton stuff.
Yeah. I've got a bit of compost started. When we got municipal compost here, we kind of stopped doing our own compost. But the thing is, the municipal compost is not food grade, right? Because you can throw everything in there: meat, eggs, fish, paper towels, blah blah blah. And so it ends up being used it's good for stuff like your shrubs and stuff. But they don't suggest you use it for your food garden. So I've gone back to composting. I'm doing mostly, if I'm chopping up veggies, then whatever is left, I'll chop really small so that it deteriorates as fast as possible. Tea bags, coffee grounds, In fact, I pinged you a couple of days ago about barbecue ash because I wasn't sure if, like, I'd always read that it was good, but I'm not never really sure, and I don't know if I
Yeah.
should put too much or like keep it light or just dump it
It's like
all in.
if you're mixing it in with your compost,
Yeah.
just like make sure that don't put too much in. Like don't make it only ash, but
Yeah.
it's a good fertilizer. So the organic, like slow releasing composts are usually what, like 5 nitrogen, 5 phosphorus, and 5 what's the other one? Calcium. And
Yeah.
so that's the numbers on the bags. And so unless you're like trying to test your stuff and trying to get that level, it's really,
I'm not gonna do that.
yeah. So I mean, I usually just spread it like a little bit in the garden instead of put it in my compost. But some people do put it in the compost because it reduces the acidity levels.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good. But I
Yeah.
just throw it like just,
Oh, you just sprinkle it?
yeah, I just sprinkle it in my garden.
And would you start throwing down your compost now or wait until you're seeding?
I throw down my compost in the fall.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And then I'm ready to seed because I mulch everything in the fall too. But like
Mm-hmm.
if you have not mulched anything and you're starting with a new garden and you have, your soil is bare, then
Yeah.
probably there are a whole bunch of weeds that are stuck in there. So you're gonna have to either turn the soil, which I never turn the soil. I just rake the top, like the
Yeah.
first 5 inches. And then that's where you add the compost before seeding, of course,
Right.
right before seeding or planting, because or else it's going to rain. It's not time to plant yet, and all the seeds are going to germinate for all the weeds are going
Yeah.
to take over. So
Right. Shawnee is asking, have you seen the green stock style gardening tower for your patio? No, I don't know what that is.
it's a vertical gardener. I think there's like 20. There are 20 levels, and you can plant like a whole bunch of stuff in there.
And is it
And
called a green stock?
yeah, it's called a green stalk gardener. I think a planter. And there's a thing that you just put the water in the middle and it waters everything. So it's pretty cool.
Hmm.
I don't have one just because I suck at growing things in pots. Like I have to grow one thing in a pot this year. It's mandatory for Shed Wars, but like I suck at growing in a pot.
We grow a lot of stuff in pots, like on the patio and stuff. That's where we do our herbs. And we tried to do strawberries and blackberries, but forget about it. Because that's the kind of thing I don't want in my garden. Because next thing you know, 2 years later, all you've got is strawberries or blackberries, right?
Yeah, they'll take over.
So we tried those in pots, but I mean, look, we got squirrels, we got stuff, So I don't know, but yeah, I've
Yeah.
never seen that, but I'll take a look at it just because. Hike says, I used to have a compost bin. If you have one, keep it far away from the house because it will attract mice and rats. Ours is behind the garage.
Yeah.
And I don't give a damn about mice and rats in my garage. It's nothing but a catch-all anyway. Raspberry Rock is trying to Russell is trying to figure out how to grow a beer garden. If you figure that out, let me know. Oh. Salut, monsieur. Comment ça va?
Hey.
Good evening.
Hello.
Um,
Ça va?
Yeah.
Another crazy week so far, so.
Yeah.
I had a very crazy week too. I am exhausted. I'm just going to try to stay awake tonight until 11. And as soon as we're done here, I'm going to. But,
yeah.
As
Don't
long as
yawn.
you're not snoring,
yeah.
I'm fine with this.
So Cliff is asking if Shawnee means the stackable triangle tower that allows you to grow in a 2-foot space but can go as high as you're able to reach.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really like Jess from Roots and Refuge Farms. She has an affiliate link for you guys that like maybe want to go purchase it. Go on her
Wait, who?
videos. Jessica from Roots and Refuge Farms. She's an affiliate, but she's in the States. So for Canada, I don't know if somebody has one, but I think you can get a percentage off if you go through her link.
Right. Shawnee also says that something keeps sticking up my onions in multiple beds. Very annoying. One thing you can do about that is lay down not chicken wire, but the one that's like octagons.
Octagons is hexagons is chicken wire. The square one is rabbit wire.
Oh, okay. So you can lay down chicken wire.
It could be voles too.
No, it could be both. Hold on. Plant marigold. Should keep those pests away from what I've heard. Marigold is good for certain pests, but not everything.
Not everything, no.
Like if you want to really pest free your garden, you're doing a mix of beneficial insects,
Predators.
right? Flowers, stuff like that. Slingshot.
Lavender.
Lavender. Yeah.
Yeah, I have my 2 cats in the garden. They're always there.
Yeah. I would like to point out that Hike with Mike just said something that I would never have thought about living here in Quebec.
Armadillos, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's skunks too. Skunks, like if you have grubs in your garden or like in your soil, they'll come dig up everything out of there. And skunks are pretty bad, but I have a dog that will literally keep everything like at least 800 meters each way of the house. Like there's nothing coming in.
We had a problem with a skunk last year, and it's because we had grubs in our lawn. So at the end of last year, I laid down nematodes. And I think I need to do that again. I think we've still got a thing, and I just gotta do it.
Yeah, because you had like yellow spots on your grass.
There were spots where the grass just wasn't growing.
Yeah.
That's
the first sign.
Yeah.
Because the biggest problem that we have here is skunks, a raccoon, and also squirrels.
Yep. Raccoons, squirrels, and skunks. Yeah. The triumvirate of
gophers as well.
Yeah, in my neighborhood we don't have a lot of gophers, so.
Jeez,
yeah, we used to have them. They were right in my front yard when we got here. But like we were literally getting overrun with wildlife when we got here. And then as soon as we got the dog, nothing.
Forgot about it. Yeah.
Well, except for like the occasional wild turkey that'll be like right in my front yard. But that's usually when the dog's in the garage.
Right. With most of my in-laws, if a wild turkey walks onto the front lawn, you just start hearing a boom. And then goes directly in the freezer. So we're saying I have lavender, mint, and marigolds, and I still have all the pests those 3 plants are supposed to keep away. Well, that's disappointing. Yeah. Because I was thinking of experimenting that with this year, because I've never actually done that, planting the marigolds and all that stuff before. I thought I would like to try it this year, but we
did some last year with mitigated results. This year I'm heading lavender for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's a lavender that comes back in our climate too. It comes back every year. Yeah. Yep. I'm looking for it because I think I have seeds of it, but you have to stratify the seeds before, and it's been 2 years and I keep on forgetting to do it. And I come open to my seeds and I'm like, I forgot again. So maybe next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm going to the nursery anyway, so I'm gonna like get a whole bunch of stuff. I planted marigold, I planted nasturtiums. What else? Like just a whole bunch of flowers, and I'm gonna probably buy a whole bunch more. Like I have a budget.
Nurseries I've opened here last weekend.
Yeah, you guys are like 2 to 3 weeks usually before us for the gardening side, so I'll open up later. Ours is next Saturday.
What zone are you in?
Zone 3.
Yeah, we're in 5A or 5B, something like that.
Yeah, we're in 5A.
So my growing season, like my last frost, I can still get frost until mid-June.
Well, officially Same here.
No, I have
You
my
guys can-
summer tires on, so to hell with that. Forget about it.
But you guys can get like mild frost. We can get kill frost.
Yeah. Yeah, around here, the weekend of like around May 21st, happy birthday to me, is you're usually pretty safe to
Yeah.
plant around that.
I think you guys can start planting out your stuff after the full moon of May, and I can start planting out my stuff after the full moon of June.
Okay. So you're like almost exactly a month
Yeah.
later than us.
Yeah.
Hike says it's almost the end of growing season down there.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
You know what? I tell you what, if that's a foreign ass land to me, man, down there in Florida. Russell says this gardening conversation has me pumped. I'm literally jumping out of my jammies with excitement. I'm gonna go gargle some seeds right now. Next time we should discuss changing diapers. Dude, I changed a diaper today that made me regret every decision I've made in life. So if you want me to talk about it, I'm your man. But I think that if Russell wants to, point the conversation one way or the other,
You're not the only bubbles no more, Russell.
You're running at your kitties.
Why does it make my mouth so big?
Because of his.
I know.
He says, "Do your bubbles, Mallory."
Oh my god.
Shawnee says, "My kids started putting birdseed out. Maybe I need some things that move in the wind around the garden. Might keep the birds away." We used just what are those things called? Pinwheels?
Yeah, pinwheels were worldwide, or
Yeah, little wind
actually,
socks.
I'm literally putting cages over my garden.
If you got a problem with squirrels, yeah, that's pretty much your only option.
That's the only option. There's nothing else.
Yeah. Except the slingshot. Now, in the city of Montreal, you cannot touch a squirrel.
Yeah,
Well, you cannot do anything in the city of Montreal anyway. So
you can't trap them and move them somewhere. You can't touch them. You can, like, if you have a problem with squirrels in your attic, like we did, you can stick a one-way gate where you see them coming in and out, and then later you can close it up. But you can't do anything to the squirrel itself. You can't trap it and move it. Like where my dad lives in the Okanagan, they had a problem with a squirrel. They just rented a trap, drove it across a river, and let it out in the woods, and then drove back home.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, but you cannot do that here.
Yeah,
even
the answer in my case is blinker. The good old
Don't say anything online here.
Yep.
But yeah. But yeah, one thing that a philosophy that I came up with when I was working on this book is if you want to get started with a garden, a potager, whatever it's called, a food garden, I think a good way to start is plant the stuff that costs the most at the grocery store.
yes.
Right? Like all the stuff that is like pennies to the dozen kind of thing. Don't waste your time on that. Like if you have a small space, right? If you have a small space like I do, and you're looking to maximize the impact of the yard you have. I mean, granted, plant stuff you like to eat.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say stuff that costs a lot means it is either difficult to grow or have very bad yields.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else against it. So if you want to start with anything that you can to get experience with plants.
Cliff says, "You say that, Jess, but one can't exactly plant a steak tree."
There's a saying that Jean-Martin Fortier said in his movie right at the end, and he says, the important thing is to start small, but to start now.
Yeah.
And that's followed me throughout the years. And when I started gardening, I didn't start like a huge ass garden. I started little things. Like I probably had like I don't know, a few cucumbers, a few tomatoes, you know, and I just figured out what I like to grow because there's some things that I just hate to grow.
Hmm.
You know, I will just like just buy them instead of growing them. So just start with a little bit of everything, sort of,
Um,
and like what you like, and then you can figure out from there what you like to
Yep.
grow.
yeah, I still like, if you look at the return on investment from carrot seeds, I mean, I've got a bunch of carrots going in this year, but because we have very clay-like soil,
Yeah.
and carrots don't cost a mint, I feel like we're wasting because we only ever get these tiny little carrots because our
Yeah.
soil is too heavy for them to go down. So in a time equals money, or no, I'm making that sound too capitalistic. What I mean is,
Sorry.
you know, you just reminded me of there was what the hell was it called? Tetaclac?
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly
pretty
that.
much.
He's supposed to now, you know, like, hey, Gilbert, comment ça va, mon homme? Ouais, ça va bien, là. Um, but
Yeah,
you know, like,
carrots. Yeah,
you know, we have some multicolored carrot seeds and stuff, so you know, we're gonna plant them. But I that's not a good use of our very small space because the return we get because of our soil from carrots and beets is just not worth it.
yeah, your root
Whereas,
crops.
you know, whereas we do great with tomatoes, we do great with peppers, we do okay with cukes. You know,
Yeah,
zucchinis we do
Yeah,
quite well with.
but carrots, potatoes, um, radishes, the, these are pretty much commodities in terms of vegetables here. So it's
one that I can just not grow is onions and leeks. I just love to grow those because they're just so easy
hmm
and
they are
like
easy, but they require a very drained
yeah,
soil,
yeah, a well drained soil for sure.
yeah,
And
which we don't
almost
really have.
almost
and
poor.
like I buy a lot of onion. I used to buy a lot of onions, and now like well, except for this year. This year I probably bought like maybe 10 pounds this winter. But
Okay,
man, like I never buy onions usually because I grow so many. This year I just forgot them in the greenhouse and they froze.
Whoops.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
no
But
weird.
I usually would eat a lot more than just 10 pounds in my winter. You know, I usually have like, man, how many pounds do I have? Like 30, 40 pounds of onions
Not more than
stored for
that.
the winter in one kind. And then I have like all the bunches that are canned.
But you're not growing a onion more than that.
Oh yeah, that's one kind. And then I have the bunching onions, and then
Okay,
I eat them all during the summer. I dry a whole bunch of them, but the ones that I store, yeah, that's pretty much what I use here for that.
at my previous house slash homestead thing, I was aiming for 500 pounds a year.
Of onions?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That was my
That's a lot of
goal,
onions.
and I'll almost as many for potatoes.
Yeah,
Uh,
potatoes, I go for 300 pounds.
yeah, I was aiming for 500 of potatoes, 500 of onions, about 100 pound of carrots at the end.
Yeah.
Leeks, yeah, something like 60 to 80 pounds.
Yeah, leeks I've never been able to grow like a large quantity. I think the biggest that I've harvested was like 30 or 40 pounds of leeks.
So, Mal,
Yeah.
you're prepping for the growing season now,
Yeah.
right? So I have two questions for you. The first of which actually comes from Russell, who says, "What kind of boxed wine are you into tonight?"
Huh.
Just because. So, like, what's your process? Do you have a very specific process that you do every single year? Now, obviously, you've just put in a greenhouse, so maybe that'll change this year. But do you have like the early spring process that Mallory does every year?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I walk through my garden and I try to remember where I put everything last year, and then I try to figure out where I'm going to plop everything in the garden this year and make us do like a little tiny rotation.
Right.
And then I I refer to my notes from last year, and like I always take my notes every single spring. I will go to my notes, and I have the dates that I planted stuff from 2019 to 2021, and then I check, okay, which one did better, and then
Mhm.
I will make a new one from this year,
Yeah.
and then take all the tricks and the dates of everything that I started and how many, and then do myself a new list for the year until like, because now it's my fourth season here, my fourth year.
Yep.
So every year it's always learning. Every time you move to somewhere new, you have to like adjust to your climate and
hmm
your soil and everything. And I will also look where I amended my soils last year and
Right.
like where I grew my carrots or something like that. Because where I grew my carrots, I'm probably going to be amending this year to be putting in like, heavier feeding vegetables. So like tomatoes,
Mhm.
broccoli and stuff like that. So those need like the full amendments. But
Okay.
the places where I amended last year for like tomatoes, let's say, they don't have to be re-amended to put in
No.
carrots or onions. You maybe just a little nitrogen boost here in the beginning to boost it, but like they don't need the full compost load,
Right.
No, you need the full compost load for corn.
Mm-hmm.
Corn, definitely. Um, Usually what I was doing is over 4 years, I was doing corn in the same patch. I mean, corn, tomatoes, um, beans and little things, then carrots, potatoes, and anything else, then shift over.
And you
What
just cycle it through every 4 years, kind of deal.
It was my strategy at my at my old house, but right now I'm on a tenth of an acre,
hmm
so I just can't have this as big garden as I had before.
Yeah.
What I'm doing this year is actually I'm gonna literally cover my garage roof with vegetable this year.
Okay. You've got a flat roof.
It is, yeah. It's mainly a flat roof. It's not, but even
That's cool.
if it's a low pitch roof, I would do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And you don't need big containers on your roof. I'm gonna reuse window boxes to as a basis for. I want to grow. I'm gonna put there anything rated as melons, squashes, anything that just goes everywhere.
I think we're getting trolled by Russell, by the way. If this conversation gets any more exciting, I'm going to light up the disco ball.
Mhm.
So, of course, Shawnee comes back with Russell. I thought you were going to say light up something else, not the disco ball. Shawnee's got her finger on the pulse there, right? That's what we call a wicked comeback.
Let's check if I have a disco ball in here.
Of course.
Oh,
Nice.
right on.
Nice.
Yeah, you're gonna need to subscribe.
Yeah.
This
Shawnee
is
says she's
different.
growing a tea garden this year. I've never even heard of a tea garden.
Yeah, I have a tea garden.
Do you?
Yeah, all my herbs and all my like a whole bunch of things that I make teas with go in there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth it because tea is expensive if you buy it in the store. So if you have it and you dry it and you store it for the winter time, and it's so good.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. I realized I completely forgot to try to fix my my name here.
Well, I'm done.
I don't know what the hell happened there. Yeah, I can't fix it now that we're actually broadcasting, but we'll just pretend that there's nothing wrong here.
There's nothing wrong. It's just your personality.
That's very nice. Thank you, Mister. Shawnee says, heading to a farm this weekend to gather dandelions, violets, raspberry leaves. My tea garden is lemon balm, lemon verbena, chamomile, spearmint, and peppermint.
Yeah, mint is the best. Is
Yeah.
the best for teas.
Yeah,
I like
but
peppermint.
just don't put it in the ground. Just don't.
In
I
the
have it in
ground?
the
Oh,
ground
yeah.
here, but I let it grow
But you got
out.
space. You got space and space and
Yeah.
space, though.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
but-
space.
No, no,
Oh yeah.
it's not a good idea.
I take cuttings from it every year, and I chop it down, and I give it away.
Cliff is watching it for me here.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
And it
more
creates-
thinking about the fire hose rather than flamethrower. Just for the fun of it.
Right.
Because it is just longer.
What are you
That's
talking
not-
about?
It takes longer.
Simo is oh, hold on. Ian the Weblord says, all I can get to grow consistently in my raised planter in London, Ontario is chives, and I had success with the habanero last year. Brought it inside, it flowers like crazy, but no fruit. Oh, that's too bad.
Were you giving it consistent, like bi-weekly fertilization, or? Because like I will go boost my tomatoes and peppers every 2 weeks with like some sort of compost on top, and then you just give it like a little boost every 2 weeks.
Oh, look
wow.
at that. Come
That's
on,
awesome.
that's pretty.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's my office.
I
That's
like
so
peppers. Yeah.
And these are mainly ready right now. There's one that needs to be harvested.
It drops.
Hey, Drops Family Garden. Welcome.
Yep.
We're yapping about the gardenings. We're talking about the gardenings. I'm going to drop an invite just in case someone else wants to join the convo. What I want to hear about tonight, for those of you who are joining us late, is we're all sort of prepping our gardens, whether it's a garden or it's a planter garden or it's a blah, blah, blah. So I want to know what you're doing to set up, what you're planning on planting. Yes,
Well,
if you want to.
If I could just give a word of advice, if you're in a place where you think you're going to stay for at least 4 years, plant your perennial garden. Plant out some fruit
Oh, yeah.
bushes, and because those are the things that take the longest to produce, and you will not regret it. They will like throw fruit at you, like literally. It'll just come in and come in and come in, and it just won't stop year after year. And- yeah.
That's one thing that I'm looking for this year, because things will change in a couple months for me. Mainly, the workload will increase by a magnitude. It's going to be crazy.
Russell, I'm down 2 subscribers, but with my subscriber number versus your subscriber number, those 2 are a bigger problem for me than your 11 are for you. Raspberry is just asking, it's a little off topic, but it's kind of important to all of us who have YouTube channels. YouTube every now and then, holy crap, I'm going to start that sentence again. Every now and again, YouTube sort of purges a lot of people's subscribers, and Russell's down 11 since this morning, and you were down 7 yesterday. I'm down 2 today.
And I've been just growing consistently for the past, like, seriously, I think every day I'm gaining like in between 30 to 40 to 50 subscribers.
Damn it, Mal, stop talking. I've been doing this since 2013. And I'm like, yeah.
Sorry. Oh
It's
my
okay.
gosh, okay, and I'm gonna tell it in my live tomorrow. I was gonna say, I have really good news, but I'm gonna wait.
What?
Sorry.
Of course.
Cliffhanger.
Of course.
Ugh.
Cliffhanger.
Shawnee says, this is the first year I planted frost hardy stuff before our last frost date average. Nothing has died yet. I agree. Perennials for sure. Planted some strawberries. I don't know where to plant the strawberries. That's the problem. Like, we're just going to put them in pots, but that kind of defeats the perennial aspect, doesn't it?
No.
Shawnee, if you plant stuff out early and you're afraid to have a frost, you can buy one of these at just a dollar store. I think I got this one for $3, and it's like a row cover actually.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've
Frost
seen those at
protection.
ours too. Yeah.
And you can just throw that on top. I'm gonna probably experiment with that this year. I'm gonna plant some lettuces and stuff underneath, and then just cover them up with these.
Right.
By the way, Jesse, my strawberries are all in window pots.
Do you leave them out over the winter?
Yeah.
Mine are in the ground. Mine are
Worse.
all in the ground.
I'm literally removing them, changing the soil, and replanting them every single spring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a lot of maintenance strawberries, because what happens with strawberries is that they produce really good for 3 years, but then they like sort of they're out of their prime.
No,
So they create babies.
But you just need to replace the soil.
Okay, yeah, maybe, but still, it's still a lot of maintenance.
That's the main reason why I'm putting them in window boxes.
Yeah. What's a window box?
You know, square box,
Just
plastic,
narrow.
Window boxes. Window. Simon, find a picture.
Like a raised bed with a window on it?
No.
The one.
What are they in French?
Do it in French. Celle que tu installes directement sur un garde-corps sur ta.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah. It's just like a long little planter. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stick them on your balcony or whatever.
Yeah, mine are all in the ground, so I just I have to replace them every 3 years.
Right.
But that's the main reason why I'm keeping them in window boxes, or narrow planters, or whatever name that you want to give it.
And you change the soil every year, so you just keep getting crop.
Yeah, and moreover, because they're just propagating themselves each year, because I got female plants and male plants and whatever.
Well, they're self-pollinating, aren't they?
Not sure.
Excuse me while I look it up in the book.
Okay, do it.
No, I'm not going to waste the on-screen time looking it up in the book. But
actually, I do have one book that both of you don't have.
Oh, Drops Family Garden, in fact, says strawberries are self-pollinating and can grow indoors all year long. Yeah. Really?
Yeah, they're the ever-bearing ones. Like I actually thought of it last year to bring them inside, but I'm gonna have a Four Seasons greenhouse next year, so.
Check that book, The Quebec Gardener.
Never heard of that one.
Me neither.
From what I understand, it is the first modern book ever written specifically for Quebec.
Really?
That one is dated back to.
Look at mine.
91.
91. Oh,
yeah.
And my mom's comes in with, I think you have to cover the roots with straw in the fall. Or mulch.
Yeah.
Mulch or something like that. Well, actually, that stuff that Mallory was just showing, the fleece.
I have this one.
Yeah.
For Quebec too.
It's just pour le jardin. Man, I have seen that in many friends' houses.
It's a really good book.
Yeah.
And I got this one too.
Yeah.
Complete guide to gardening. It's got everything from fruit trees to
Yeah.
You were asking about ashes the other day. It's all about ashes in there, and just a whole bunch of information.
Yeah. Just trying to remember from where that guy was.
Russell asked, "Is that okay? You got that? Okay."
Yeah.
Russell, bringing the class to every conversation.
Got it.
Yeah.
The author of this book is originally originally from England.
What's his name?
Trevor Cole.
Hey, he's the guy I worked with on this book.
Oh,
Yeah. He lives just outside of Ottawa.
Yep.
Yeah, I worked with Trevor Cole and Fern Crumbs. What the hell was her name? What the heck was her name? Oh well.
he says I can't read French. The 1001 tricks. It takes tricks and
And tips.
tips for the garden. That's what it
Yeah.
is. But it is in English too, I think.
Yeah.
You just
Oh, yeah,
tell
but
them about it.
it's
Drops.
translation.
Yeah. Drop says just dig your strawberries up in the fall and keep them indoors during the winter. You can refresh the soil and keep them in the pot, which
Yeah,
is essentially a variant on what you're doing, Simon.
I'm thinking it. Will they literally produce, or do they have to go into dormants? Like,
They
are they
do.
gonna die after a while if you just keep on making them produce?
I think what we got to do is one day we got to get Drop on screen, because I've checked out Drop's channel before, and
Yeah, he's got lots of information.
there's knowledge being dropped
Yeah.
on the regular over there. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
look who's here! How's it
Hey,
going, Dennis?
Dennis is here.
Dennis is here. He's just arrived. So
That's a bit
I'm getting.
surprising.
Well, he was live streaming earlier.
Yeah, but it's too early for him to show up.
Dennis, is everything okay? It's 10 o'clock.
So Everbearing keep producing. Okay. Yeah, so I was like, do you just let it keep producing and
Yeah.
then put it back in the garden in spring and then just let it produce again? You know,
Well,
that I was wondering.
I like the idea of just keeping them in pots, like in a
Yeah,
pot
but-
of some sort, and then
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
yeah. Yeah.
Moreover, I got these strawberries straight on my balcony.
And did you buy the Everbearing?
Everbearing is one they produce many times a year, and then you have the other ones that produce like a big burst like once a year.
I'm sorry to say, but they might be, because they're producing all season long.
Yeah, that's their
But-
Everbearing. They have like a couple harvests in the summertime as
As
the
far
other
as I'm
ones.
concerned, I just picked 2 plants and
Okay.
got to reproduce all over and over.
Yeah,
Right.
cool. So yeah, see, I have 3 varieties. I have 2 that are everbearing. They just continue to push them out all the way till the frost.
Yep.
And then I have 1 that will produce in like June, and then that's it. That'll be its only harvest, and then it'll just shoot up babies all over the place
Right.
and overrun with green foliage.
I do have 2 plants of raspberry that are
Mm.
very good at producing. I've tried blueberries, no success at all. Up to the point that this year I'm really considering getting straight up in the north and just go for berry picking for 1 or 2 days.
Oh, that's a
Right.
bummer. Are they in pots too?
This I basically have the same kind of soil as Jesse. There's just too much clay in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
The water table is at less than 6 feet here,
Yeah.
so it's.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that with the amount of snow that we got here this year, that it went away in about a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I
Why
think.
do I got this here?
So yeah, bottom line, this year I'm gonna push, and I'll put plants of my garden straight on my garage roofs.
Right.
There's no reason to leave it alone
Right.
and doing anything.
Fair
It is
enough.
there. It
Are
is
you worried
empty.
about weight though?
How much snow do you have on your roof
Yeah,
over
That's
winter
exactly what I was gonna say.
compared to
No,
how
it's pretty
much
heavy.
plant I'm gonna need to have to do the exact same thing over that roof?
Yeah. Drop says his rhubarb is going to
Rhubarb,
flowers.
yeah.
Oh wow, mine's just starting to come out of the ground.
Yeah.
I'm only
Rhubarb
starting
is
now to have a little bit of dandelions around the house where it's hotter, but that's it. Only starting.
I'm sorry to admit, I don't have space for rhubarb.
Me neither. Me neither. But I do love rhubarb.
That's an amazing perennial. I'm gonna try to make some candy out of it this year.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Dehydrate it in the little candies.
Yeah.
pies.
I'm gonna try dehydrating a lot of
Pies.
stuff this year. Yeah, pies. Yeah.
I have like I think I have like 30 acres of wild strawberries. So I'm
Wow.
gonna be picking a lot of them. Last year it got away from us, and like by the time we realized that they were all ready, they were like falling off the plant already. So we're like, okay. So I know this year I know like it's gonna be June,
Hmm.
pretty much the end of June is when they're ready.
Right.
So
Days in and days out.
I'm gonna have the kids.
So I spent so many days in my childhood picking strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
They're so good though. But they're pretty big, like compared to like what I'm used to at my dad when I was growing up. I used to have like little tiny
Yeah.
ones, but these ones are like twice as big, so it's
Oh, yeah.
not as bad. Yeah,
The thing is, I like the tiny little the wild strawberries. I like the wild raspberries. I like the ones that I buy strawberries every week because my kids love them and stuff. But they're these great big honkers. And the fact is, those tiny little wild strawberries that I could pick while I was mountain biking, or those wild raspberries, man, the flavors are just so
oh, they're
boom.
just so sweet.
And these
Yeah.
big freaking monsters that you buy at
Tastes like water.
yeah. So I mean, to
Yeah.
me, it's worth it to get the small
But you know why?
guys.
You know why though? They pick them way before they're ripe, and they let
Yeah.
them ripen
And
during.
that's
transport.
that's true of all fruit, though. I mean, it's
So,
because it's ripening on a 5-day journey from California to Quebec,
yeah.
kind of thing.
So that's why those little fruits, like if you would harvest them straight off the plant in California ripe, I'm sure it would
Yeah.
be so much better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
than-
they are impossible for transportation.
Yeah, because then it's
Exactly.
too late to get them here. Drop says that he used to pick a lot of wild strawberries in Montana. They're the small ones, right, Mal? So yeah,
Yep.
Yes.
obviously.
Yeah, very
And
small.
he agrees with us that wild strawberries are good.
They're the best.
Yeah.
Like I seriously have like 30 acres of old pastures that are overrun with them because the soil is so acidic and they love acidic soil.
Right.
Yep.
Interesting.
That's something that I'm going just a bit over with the amount of compost and cheese, fumier,
Manure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just giving them just a bit too much each year, and they're just overproducing. So
Russell says we have lots of wild strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries around here, but since they're wild, they're sparse and very small. But man, I love those. I love the taste of those little wild ones. Then, of course, he finishes off with, "I just belched so loud the dog barked." Always got to drop a kicker on the end of that, eh? Of whatever he says.
there's nothing else to say.
Nope, that kind of ends the conversation, doesn't it? But yeah, I like I don't know. There's something about a garden that does the soul some good,
It does your health, your mental health good too.
Yeah.
Like just tending to the plants, like for when it's like the greatest therapy. I'll be in my garden, like I had my GoPro on the other day, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna just test out my angles because I got the new head set, and I was just testing out the angles and going through and just removing quackgrass. I'm like, it's so boring to remove it, but it was so satisfying for me to just rip them out, like when they came out as really long ones, and I was like, yes, dominating this garden, and it felt
Yeah.
so good just to get in there and to rip it all
There's a
out.
real sort of there's in fact Russell Not Russell. Sorry. Cliff says gardening connects you with the land,
Yeah,
which
it
is
does.
absolutely true. It's a connection that you can't.
Connects you with your food.
Yeah, and you can't easily get those connections unless you're doing it, unless you're getting your hands dirty and you're growing the food or you're hunting the deer or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like being connected with the production of your food and with the laying of the land for that production really connects you to the whole process from earth to table, and you can't beat that, man. You just can't beat that.
Yep.
It's
the only thing that I'm planning to do as a big improvement this year is actually to install a small irrigation system.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah,
that makes a big difference.
It does, especially if you're growing a lot of things in pots.
Yeah, what we did was my wife bought one of those hoses that it seeps the water out. So you just
it's a soaker.
You just put it around on the ground and leave it there and turn it on. It just sort of soaks out, which I'm interested in trying.
I'll
Russell.
I had the plan to do it over winter. Obviously, I did not. Why not? But yeah, so that's one thing that is high on my priority list these days. The other stuff that I had to do outside this, the first project is done, so I can switch to the irrigation now.
Right.
No, Dropsy planted garlic and radishes today. I planted my garlic out in autumn, and it's out already. It's as tall as my hand is.
Wow. Yeah. I also said it's time to plant the first succession planting of carrots this week.
Nice. Yeah, it's too early for me still, but I could maybe do it. I could get away with it under covers. I could probably get away with it.
I've started my carrots already.
Yeah.
I started carrots too.
And
when did you start them?
Spinach. I've been in the ground since 2 weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like at that point right now.
Something else that I've done last year and I want to repeat this year. I've actually I've done some bucket gardening, but upside down.
Yeah.
Upside down bucket gardening?
Yeah. Basically, you take a bucket, drill a hole on the bottom, and leave the plant down.
Yeah, like my tomato plant right now. I'm gonna have to do a video on that and show you guys where it's at. I have a beefsteak tomato. It's about this big on it right now.
Yep.
And I just hate those things.
Yeah, I don't like them either. But
I hate the upside down because I'm so small and I have to. I never know when I have to water it, and I can't put one of those things with a bottle on it. Because the water will just seep through the hole and go straight down.
That's the beauty with an irrigation system.
I know, that's it. That's what I was saying. Like I have this irrigation thing with a bottle and a spike that goes in.
Oh, I mean, just get the freaking hose straight on the top and leave it there.
In the house. It's in the house. I don't have a hose in the house.
No, but, I've actually installed 9 or 10 buckets, hooks straight on my garage last year.
Yeah.
And I'm repeating it.
Maybe with irrigation, but and it's so weird. The plant goes like this. It starts like this and then it turns and it goes towards the sun,
Yeah, but the gravity will still bring them down and you don't have to stake it. You don't have to.
Yeah.
There's just so many benefits doing it.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
I'll show you.
You mean you plant the seed up in the hole in the bucket?
Yeah, upside down.
Why? What's the benefit?
Gravity. You don't have to do.
Oh, you don't have to put like your sticks for it too.
You don't have to stick them. You don't have to. It's basically just let. You could do it. I could probably do it from the side of the garage, just like.
Yeah.
So this is the planter.
Yeah.
And the tomato is in there.
Yeah, I get it.
Yep.
I get it now.
Yeah. I just basically last year I was given 5-gallon buckets, and that's what I've used.
5-gallon buckets?
Well, Just fill them with
Jesus.
2 or 3 gallon of soil and and leave the rest alone.
Yeah. I see it. Okay.
They were free. Why would not bother
Yeah,
with?
why not? Yeah. Good point. Very good point. It's just, it was hard for me to visualize at first. Dennis just looks confused. Why? Dude, I look confused all the time right now. Drop says that tomato's looking good. I think he's talking
Yeah,
to
it's been good. I forgot to like shake it a little bit in the beginning. And it's like I said, like I forget to water it sometimes. So sometimes it'll start to like start saying
Yeah.
I'm thirsty. And then I'll water it real quick and then it'll seep through the bottom. And so there's a whole bunch of flowers that just fell off. But yeah.
Hmm.
It's there's
Yeah.
it's making some at least, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
right now,
that's a tomato sucker that I got from the garden from last year that I overwintered in the house.
well, basically that's the the pepper plant that I have
Yeah.
on my desk. It's just overwintered and just it's sprout again. Just
Yeah.
okay, fine. I'm gonna
Pepper
reap
plants
benefit
are actually perennial.
as long as they are not subject to freeze.
Yeah.
Right.
You can bring them in and keep them as household and replant them outside. And
Mhm.
my mother had a pepper plant that was 10 or 15 years old at some point.
Bet you it was big.
It wasn't that big. That was
Really?
the thing with it. I don't know if she treated it like a bonsai, but
Kept it nice and small. Because like when we throw a bunch of peppers into the garden, man, they just
Yeah. I think they have a maximum height, but I think you can. I'm not sure, but they do sort of branch out, sort of like
Yeah.
a tomato.
they do.
So I think if you do cut it down, it will grow back.
okay.
I think it's that type of perennial. I've never tried it. It's definitely something that I want to try.
Drop says most tomatoes are self-pollinating as well. All you need to do is shake them or put a fan on them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
why
also good to know.
I completely forgot to shake them because I usually just shake them up a little bit so that like the flowers touch each other, and I just
Literally,
forgot.
my best tomato plant last year were the one in the buckets.
Oh, not mine. Mine died.
Did it?
Yeah, because I put them in my greenhouse, and
Oh man, no.
practically everything in my greenhouse died, like in this little tiny thingy because I never
Mhm.
went in there.
Okay.
And because I water everything in the garden, and I'd always forget to go into the little greenhouse, and I'd be like looking at my tomato plant, and I'd be like, I have to go get the hose in the garden. No, just screw it. Like and then I have to go all the way up because I'm 5 foot tall, and it's 8. You know, the ceiling is 8 feet tall, so I'd have to go get a step, and it's you know what? I just let them die.
The greenhouse of death.
You know,
Yeah.
you know that you can get the long version of
Like like a wand you can put on your hose.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I did have one actually. It lasted not too long, and I didn't buy another one. But yeah.
Russell says everything died in my greenhouse too. Then I realized I don't have a greenhouse. Everything outside died. Yeah, well, that was fall. That's what fall does. Then it turns into winter.
That's funny that you mentioned that your one
Yeah.
had a problem. I actually repaired mine twice so far.
Yeah, it's always the little thing. 'Cause I had one that I bought here at Canadian Tire, and it was a good brand, and the pressure was excellent. It was good, but then the little thingy to open the valve, like I'd need one that would like have a gun on it, like at the end or
What
something.
the actually I got mine also from Canadian Tire,
Yeah.
and the way that they're built right now is they're using ultrasonic welding for plastic.
Okay.
They're basically melting the plastic, the
Together.
both half to. So if you break that seal, you'll get straight into the guts of the of the one. Then
Right.
you'll be able to replace the the O-rings and gasket inside of it. That's basically what wears out.
Right.
And
It was just the valve. It broke
well,
the plastic thingy. One day I came to open it and it stayed in my hand.
Whoops.
well, that's not a problem.
Yeah. Well, it broke. Like I couldn't turn it anymore because it was it was like maybe long like this.
Yeah.
And so like I it was so hard. I'd have to go get like the gant
Yeah.
protection on my fingers. So I was just so tired of it. I said, you know what? I'm just giving up on it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I really like. I'm doing it one last time in that upside down planter, but I'm not going to do it again. I'm really not a pot person. Like, I hate growing in pots. I literally do. So,
Jeez, tell us how you really feel, Mel.
yeah, I like seed starting and little thingies, and then I'm there. But then once everything's out in the garden, like I do not want to have to deal with anything in a pot.
We like to grow our herbs in pots, but the problem is when we bring them inside in the winter, they all die.
Oh, what?
Our
What
herbs,
kind of herbs?
you know,
Okay.
basil, thyme, rosemary. You know, the usual suspects.
Well, basil sort of fans out after a little while. You sort of like get to the end of it after a little
Yeah.
while, so that sort of normal time shouldn't, and it should actually it should survive. That's weird that it doesn't.
Sure doesn't.
Do you have a little light for them, or do you put them near?
We do now. We do now. We bought some lights, but maybe they're not strong enough. You know. So I don't know.
I'm looking for a one for you.
Yeah,
Actually, for those.
I need one. I need one with a like goes like this, you know, that you squeeze it. Because
Yeah,
I hated that thing that you had to turn on the side of it. Like I think I still have it actually. But I literally cut my fingers opening it because it broke.
yeah.
on
The
the
problem with
plastic.
the squeeze one is the type of valve inside that is not as good as the small one that like you had. It is a better. The valve inside of it is better.
Oh, Chris, you're asking about asparagus?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see if they survived yet this year because last year I planted asparagus out and it froze and it did not grow back. And this year I mulched over it like crazy. And I was like, okay, if you do not survive, I'm going to be sad, but it's not coming up yet. So I don't know. I'm sort of worried that it's not going to be coming back.
Asparagus needs a well drained, almost poor soil to grow in.
Needs something almost sandy.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Drop was saying can't grow basil outside, the bugs will eat it. Bought some purple basil seeds yesterday. I want to see if it tastes different. We used to grow both purple basil and green, run-of-the-mill basil. They're both very good. The purple basil is definitely basil-y. It's a little different. It looks pretty though. Nice purple basil plant growing. It's nice.
Yeah, it tastes so good too. I love it. I have like 3 kinds of basil that I have here.
Yeah.
But there's one that I really want to try. It's actually lemon basil.
Yeah, we've had that as well.
I would really love to try that.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris Drop says that asparagus takes 3 years to grow.
Yeah. Before harvesting, it can take up to 3 to 5 years.
PB3
So it's like one of the first things that you should plant if you want to get a perennial garden in.
It's good to know. It's very good to know.
I might make an exception for growing a tree in a pot in my greenhouse, and that'll probably be for apricots. I've heard that you can have a dwarf apricot tree, and it'll produce in my climate in a greenhouse.
Interesting. Interesting. My dad has a tree in his lawn because in the Okanagan you can do all these things. It's called a fruit salad tree. What they did is they spliced several
No.
different kind of fruit
Yeah.
onto one tree. So they've got,
Pear, apple. Yeah.
the usual. No apricot on that tree though.
No, I don't think you can put like a plum
Yeah,
variety on the apple. It's either
that's what I've
apple,
heard.
plum,
Pears.
not
Yeah.
apple or pear.
Pears. Yeah.
Yeah, together.
Mal, I just wrote you a URL in the the YouTube chat.
Good old Lee Valley. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Wow,
Yep.
46.50. I thought these things were cheaper than that.
No, they're expensive, man. They are. Oh, okay, it's
What
got like a flip forward valve.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
That's the one that my mother has. I do have a cheaper one because I'm cheap. No, I'm sorry. I gave this one to her.
No, I'm gonna add that to my cart actually. Thank you, Simon.
You're welcome. It's a small one. It's only 24 inches, I believe.
That's perfect.
Well, she's
Yeah.
5 feet tall. Reach
But,
up. Got a wand. Drop says one of my cherry trees and a pear tree died. I need to replace them.
I'm pulling a Russell right now. I'm buying something online.
Oh, yeah, buying something on screen.
Yeah.
By the way, Mal, there's an option to add. Obviously, there's an option to change the rows, the watering rows at the end, from a 1 inch to 1 inch to a 2 inch.
Oh, okay, got it.
So,
I'll check
my
that
2
out.
cents.
I changed. I'm an aubergine.
Yes, you're an
Oh yeah,
aubergine.
of course.
I didn't. I didn't do that on purpose. Hey, wait a minute.
Yes, of course you did not.
No, it's on the same screen as my Mizesha. Okay, wait. Okay.
That's one good one. I'm just wondering if Lee Valley has restocked other models of these ones.
Okay, I don't have a sign in. I got
Anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna put that aside. Oh yeah, I don't think Dennis has seen that yet, huh? Oh yeah, I showed Russell's always doing his boo-boos.
Yeah, of course.
I had to go get some bubbles in here. Russell.
Bubbles. Anyway, not affiliated at all with Lee Valley, but jeez.
I do love to spend my money at Lee Valley.
You're not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah, they can have my money any day of the week.
Mhm.
By the way, not at all related to gardening. I finally got my planer and table saw in my workshop.
Nice. Nice. I need a planer. Wait, I have a planer. What I need is a jointer.
Dégauchisseur?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not a planer. It's a joiner that I have. I'm sorry.
In that case, you have
Anyway,
my because I need one.
That both beast weigh probably, I don't know. They were the planer was 400 pounds. The table saw was 350 pounds.
So mid-century.
Mid-century and cast iron.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Both,
wow! Look at Matt.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's so funny.
Both were.
If you guys want to laugh, I'm going to show them tomorrow on my live stream.
Okay.
Both were my grandpa's joiner and table saw.
Hmm.
Now I have a major restoration to do.
Yep.
Because all bushing and bearings are shot.
Oh, they're old.
They're old. Fine.
Oh.
I believe the worst was when I realized it still had the old scissor switch.
Yep.
Totally scary. It's 220, open air, like in the old days with the cutter.
Yeah, that's the olden days, all right.
Yeah.
What I have here is beneficial bugs for your garden.
Very
That's
exposed.
Is squirrel in the list?
beneficial bugs, like lacewings,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Ladybugs.
that's what I'm
Uh,
talking about.
hoverflies.
Is squirrel in the list? Gophers,
No, these are for
skunks.
insect parasites. And that's what I was saying. Like before I did this book, it never occurred to me that you could order a box of insects.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, what are they gonna think of next? Do you know what I'm saying? I just
Yeah.
you can buy anything. You can buy anything on the interwebs.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh, except for in the stores. I went to Dollarama the other day and I wanted to get a watering can for my daughter because in the dollar stores all the gardening stuff is open and it's fine.
Yeah.
But you look to the aisle to the right and you can't buy the decorative stuff, right? So I was going through the garden stuff, getting my stuff, and I go into the other lane where there's the toys for the girls, and there was a little kid princess waterer for her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
but
I put that in my basket, and the lady's like, "No, you can't buy that." And I'm like, "Well, it's gardening supplies." And she's like, "No, it's a toy." So I'm like, "Well, is there a is there a waterer for children that I could buy?" And she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, here you go." And she gives me this huge thing, and I'm like, "My daughter's not going to be able to water with that."
Yeah.
And so I wasn't allowed to buy the little waterer because it was considered a toy, but there was no other waterer in the gardening section for my children, which sucked.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hey, Tyler Rodriguez is here.
Hey, Tyler.
Tyler, are you guys doing any gardening? You've got a nice space for it. Those guys have to be growing something because they're makers and they got to be growing something. If they're not growing something, there's no order in the universe.
Yeah.
if
So yeah,
he's not, I would be the most disappointed. So
no pressure,
bottom
Tyler.
line,
But,
not at all.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the garden start to grow. It really does me some good to look at the garden all growing and happy and to work in and I love the smell when I'm watering the grass in the garden.
Yeah.
The smell of wet dirt.
Do you grow potatoes, Jesse?
No, it's not. I have the same problem with potatoes as I do with beets and carrots. The soil is just too clay. The soil is too hard.
Well, you have to raise your soil then. You have to build your soil over the years and put a whole bunch of organic material.
Yeah,
to
since we've
build it
moved in, we've been putting like 6 bags of earth down every year, and I've been sort of throwing my compost in and stuff. So it's not as bad as it used to be. That's why we decided to plant some carrots this year, see if it's going to work out. Because we've been working on it for.
Actually, your soil is not as bad because you've planted a pool and it growed really fast, quickly.
You're a funny man. That's
Well,
So
I'm growing potatoes this year again.
To have seen your yard in person, I fully understand what the pool in that yard means.
Yeah, it means we ain't got a lot of room.
No, there's nothing else than the pool.
Yeah.
that's a reality.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do. See, we have no room. It's a small yard, and now that there's a pool and everything, there's no room to really work with it for a garden or something. But I may just throw down a bunch of pots and just grow a bunch of stuff. Just like get more pots. Because what we do is all the way down the stairs is where our herbs are, and these massive, When I say massive, I mean like they're this big around, big earthenware pots. They grow nice. They grow fine there.
Why not do a
We
raised bed?
do a what?
A raised bed.
But there's nowhere to put one.
Oh, well, we're not even where you put your pots.
I could.
There's always a way to put one.
Yeah,
Hey mom,
that's
I've dropped you another one if you want to look at it.
Oh.
But you're not gonna like the price. Spoiler alert.
sorry. I just clicked on.
Holy crap!
I clicked
Oh,
on it
no.
in the wrong browser here. Hold on.
Yeah, that's very expensive.
Yeah, but that one is made in England.
Too bad it's gold.
It's brass.
Actually, it's
Yeah.
brass, and
Who
it's made in
cares?
England.
Yeah. Well, so in another couple of months, it may cost like half the price.
Mhm. I like the first one.
I like the
The
first,
first
one. Too.
one's about the same price that I bought my other one at Canadian Tire.
Hey,
And I'm
Bubbles.
sure that
Bubbles.
one will outlast you.
Yeah, I hope so.
So
I
to drop.
couldn't let this boring conversation go on any longer. Sorry, guys.
We're talking about some exciting stuff here, Russell. We're talking about growing things.
Gardening.
I was waiting for you.
Russell grew some greens last year.
Yeah, we have a garden here. It's about this big. Literally, it's like this big.
Really? Because you're out in the bush, you can like.
No, he's making a garden for the deers.
Oh hell no!
Right.
Like no. Like making a garden out here, unless you got a rototiller or something like that. Like it's nothing but trees out here and rock.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well,
So-
that's the other thing. You plant
Like
one
digging-
rock, and you will harvest a bunch of them.
But
Bunch of
like
rocks.
digging up a garden here is like digging through roots. It's all roots, and there's
Yeah.
no topsoil. So you got to find topsoil from somewhere and bring it to the spot because there's this much topsoil.
Right.
It's terrible. It's a nightmare.
Throughout all the hummus and the top
Yeah.
forest floor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's so our garden isn't literally this big, but it's not much bigger than this. It's about
But-
this big.
Do you guys do flowers and stuff, or do you do foodstuffs?
Flowers. The funny thing is, we sometimes get the comments like people see me out in the bush, like I'm cutting down ferns and stuff, and people are like, "Oh no, don't cut them down, transplant them." Are you crazy? Like, we got everything here. It's everywhere. There's flowers everywhere. You don't need to plant anything. You don't need to transplant. Anything. It's all over the freaking place.
And you
Yeah.
don't need ferns anyway.
Yeah. There's
I
a
like
million,
ferns, though.
literally
Yeah.
a million ferns on my property, but the 20 ferns that I cut down, people want me to transplant them because. But I get it. I get it because when I lived in the city, I was the same way. I was like, oh my god, trees were so precious when I was in the city. Like if I watched a video of somebody cutting down the tree, I'd be like, oh no.
Drop just
Drop.
had a wonderful
Yeah.
comment
Drop
right there.
has a clue for you there, Russell. Get a shipping container full of compost and cut the top off. There's your raised bed.
Can you do that? What would that cost?
Oh shoot!
Cool.
A
Wow.
shipping container is like $3,000.
Yep.
Like a 48 foot.
And then we'll figure out how to get it here. But first, how do we fill it up with compost?
A lot of work and a lot of money.
Yeah, you gotta.
Should, well,
I don't know how much it would
always
cost.
depends. Always depends. Compost and manures can be quite cheap depending on who you know and who you ask.
Yeah, like I have mountains of compost I'm probably gonna be selling here soon.
I'll drive all the way to your place to buy a bag of compost. Okay.
Sure. I'll give it to you, Jesse.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Are you shipping? Can you ship it?
It's just be like,
Can you ship your shit? Can you do that?
I'll be like, okay, bye, hon. I'm gonna get some compost. Okay.
Right?
And then like 2
I'll
days
sell it
later, I get
international,
back to like,
international shipping.
where the hell were you going for compost? Mal's place. Where does Mal live? Somewhere.
Somewhere.
You ain't driving all that way for some shit? What's wrong with you?
I don't
What's
know,
not
right?
wrong with me?
No, she's got shit on her head.
No, that's a shithead. That's different.
Yeah, I'm a shithead. There's so many of them.
You're
I
just a
love
little
that.
shithead.
You're the queen of whatever that is, Mallory.
The queen of poo. Ah, gross.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
How was it fun? It's like we're kids again, or at
I
least
know.
Mallory's a kid again.
I love this app.
One of us
I
is.
think Mal's been into the boxed wine.
No, I have not. I'm just really tired. Oh my gosh, but yesterday I tested out a
Thanks,
stream.
Dennis.
I tested out a stream with Ben, and he was in the living room and I was here. So I was like, okay, just tell me if the sounds are good and all with my stuff. And so I put I'm gonna show you tomorrow, but I look like Jon Snow. I look like my brother, like exactly the same as my brother with a little beard and everything, and it's so real. And he starts to laugh, and I'm like laughing here, but there's a lag, with OBS, and so it was just a vicious circle. Every time that I would laugh, he would laugh 30 seconds later, and then I would laugh again, and then 30 seconds later,
Right.
it just went on and on and on, just rolling on the floor. It was hilarious.
So
I
put
kept
a
that
beard on
stream.
you, and you look just like your brother, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Mal, I can actually answer a question you asked me yesterday.
What?
I have OBS Studio.
Yes. You don't have slobs.
I don't have what? Slavs?
Yeah. Streamlabs.
Oh,
OBS.
yeah. Is Studio or Streamlabs OBS, which one is better to have?
It's all on preference, I guess. I have not had success with the OBS Studio, so I just went with the Streamlabs OBS, and that's what
Maybe
I
I'll check that out then, because I've been working on it for months, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I can't deal with it. Drop
Do you
says,
want to see my brother?
Sure.
All right.
Nice. Looking good. Jesus
I look
Christ.
exactly like my brother.
Superstar.
Why is it snowing?
It is Jon Snow. Sorry.
It's impressive how well it tracks your face.
Yeah.
I know. It's
that's
Jon
the other
Snow.
thing. It's
Winter is coming.
All this technology,
Drop.
We could be like curing cancer, but no, let's live stream and put funny
Yeah.
things on our faces and make ourselves.
I just can't get over that one. I look like my brother.
Drop says he uses OBS. Man, maybe one day I'll drop you a line or something. I've got it almost ready for prime time, but there's just some irritating little things, and I just don't have time to deal with them. But yeah, I'd like to switch to OBS for sure.
I use Streamlabs OBS,
Yeah.
which is nice because then you can include a tip jar.
Maybe I should look it up, because when I downloaded OBS Studio, I didn't know the difference between the two. I just saw a link that said OBS, downloaded it. So
Yeah.
whichever one is easier for me to use is win.
I found the Streamlabs really easy.
I'm
I'm a
pretty
newbie,
sure.
and I set it up with I got the Stream Deck application on my phone, so I
Yeah.
can control my stream from my phone. It's awesome.
I've never used Streamlabs, so I can't offer any advice.
I would say that StreamYard has some component of OBS anyway in the background.
Didn't you just say, Russell, that you use Streamlabs OBS?
I use Streamlabs. I was StreamYard OBS. I don't use. Is that
No,
what you're talking
I use Streamlabs OBS, not StreamYard. Sorry.
about? Oh, what was I? Oh, I must have misheard. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Wait, does StreamYard have a version of OBS?
No.
I'm sure in background there's
Oh,
some
God,
OBS
okay.
component.
So what were we talking about? Streamlabs OBS versus what?
Oh, I was just
versus
saying that
OBS.
I'm able to control my stream directly from my phone
Okay.
with like the application that I have with the Streamlabs OBS, which is really cool. And I'm a newbie and I'm able to do it. So I'm sure Jesse you'll be able to do it too.
I swear I'm still on my second beer.
Well, usually you should be about 6 or 7 at this point.
Should I be? Based on what scale?
Well, based on usually the kind of interaction that you have with us.
Zach Fudge, that's exactly what I did. I have a friend that
Simone,
streams on
he's
Twitch,
taking-
and I asked him for information.
I was gonna say.
He's taking
Yeah.
shots at me. Simone's
Yeah,
taking shots at me.
he
This
takes
is the first
shots.
time we've been together on screen, so he's like, "Oh, I've got all this good stuff for Russell. Hold on, I've got to read."
I've been saving it up.
Oh. Next are the questions about his butt. I got some excellent butt questions. Sorry, Simone. Anyway,
I'm fine with this. I'm not showing up on screen too often, so.
oh, that's cool. It's nice to talk to you finally. Seen you in chat like a million times.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to join tonight because I've been in your last, Jess. I've been in your last 3 lives, and I kind of don't want to dominate them.
Well, you're not dominating.
No, only once every 3 weeks or so.
That's what I should be doing, right? Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is anybody watching? Is anybody tired of me? Oh, there's only 8 people. Sorry, 9 people.
Actually, no. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, it's. I'm not tired of you. I think we only have like 8 or 9 people because we're talking about gardening, and that's not a very. A lot of people think that gardening is boring, I don't think it is. I think. Well, it's like I said at the very beginning. Like,
What's the difference? What's the difference between nature and nature?
Well, that's the thing. I don't draw a big difference, except, I guess with a garden, you're husbanding the nature rather than it being a wild space. But I haven't been in a fundamentally wild space ever. You're in a provincial park, it's a wild space, right? You're in a national park, it's a wild space with the inverted commas.
Yeah, but
it's like
we both know what it means. If you want to be in nature, well, you have 5 months in a year.
Yeah.
And personally, that's another way to get in touch with it. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Russell, there's your answer. How can anyone get tired of Russell? Now, Drop said something interesting here. He said there was over 40 people on the gardening live I was watching earlier. So you're just throwing it in my Jesse face that I have a small channel.
That's in the homesteading community probably Drops though. Like,
yeah.
With the homesteading community, people stay on longer and bigger numbers. Being at bigger numbers. I got there.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now I feel bad about myself.
I'm almost at 10,000.
Dennis says something that, yes, Dennis, a garden, man, it's so good to have a garden.
Hey, Mark.
So good.
Rolling Homestead and Wild Edibles.
Hey.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Wow. A Drop says that live stream he was at earlier with all the that guy only had 577 subs.
Oh,
but
wow.
Was he a homesteader?
The math doesn't work out on that. I can confirm.
Well, he must be in the community, the homesteading community, because
Well, that's what I'm saying is, like, I find that homesteaders are very tolerant of conversations like this one, whereas sometimes bushcrafters are not. Well,
it's not about tolerance. It's not about tolerance. It's like if there's a Facebook community or if there's a big community where everybody kind of jumps from live stream to live stream to live stream, that kind of community. That makes sense.
You will always get more people interested in gardening than in canoeing.
Yeah.
Well, look at Dennis. Dennis has like 100 and something people in his chats, and
yeah, he works his ass off to get those chats, successful.
And he's got this loyal following that comes with him every week. And
I was going to say, I think it's the time of day. Like, if you're going to have a gardening chat, don't do it during like a beverage time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Ian, the web lord, says, I have to get off my butt and figure out what my compost pile looks like. I keep adding to it, but never use it. It's been a number of years and it's 4 feet tall now.
You're going to have to check out the temperature. Check the temperature and turn it.
Yeah, you got to turn that.
I can add something to this because I think you need to have 2 compost piles, right? Because if you keep adding to the same compost pile, it's never quite ready. I'm running into the same problem here. I've only got one. I keep adding stuff to it, and I'm looking at it going, I can't use this because there's fresh stuff in there.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just like, stopped on
Yeah.
that one and leave it for a year or two. And
Yeah, I have like 3 or 4 compost piles.
right, yeah.
I'm running 3.
I only have one little composter, one of those plastic things that you can turn over.
Okay, yeah. I
Um,
have heaping mounds of horse poop.
Do you cover them up? Oh, horse poop. Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
so it's covered in snow in the wintertime, and then in the springtime I'll come and I'll turn it with the excavator, and
Yep.
then like with all the poop from the winter paddock, I'll scrape all that up and I'll do a big mountain right in the paddock.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
But that's one day of chore just to get it out of there.
Oh yeah.
I like what Zach just said
Couple
here.
days.
He said grandparents built a greenhouse in 2019. Then the Rona happened and seed price went up 2 or 3 times. Man, the price of wood has gone up like you wouldn't believe. For a guy like me
Oh,
who
yeah.
has, it's like,
Totally
oh,
believing it.
yeah,
You're talking about the
My
coronavirus.
webcam's being weird.
Yeah.
yeah, it sure is. But Mal, what the hell? You've got all like max headroom there. I think I just dated myself.
Oh my gosh, what's happening?
Why the long face, Mal?
Right?
Oh, you beat me to it. Damn it.
Dennis says, I agree, Simo. Lots more interested in gardening than canoeing. I got to start a paddling gardener channel.
What? Well, lots more interesting gardening than canoeing. Is it just this time of year that there's more interest?
No, there's still more people interested in gardening than
Oh look,
camping and paddling and hiking.
my gardening video that hit the algorithm is I think at like 340,000 views now, and that hit the algorithm in January.
Wow.
You know, the gardening stuff works for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Shawnee says needs to add another pile. Same problem. Yeah, so like because I noticed that as well. My compost was never kind of ready because of exactly what Russell was saying. I'm adding stuff, and so that part isn't ready. And I mix it up, and then I've got stuff that's not ready mixed in with the stuff that is ready.
Yeah.
So I eventually just dug everything out, threw it onto my garden over the winter. You know,
Yeah.
just sort of
Let it compost down there.
let the chips fall where they may.
There you go.
Okay, we're at 11:02, so we're done for the night. It feels like it went really fast, but that's because I started a half hour late. All right, so thanks to you guys for coming on. Thanks to everyone for hanging out for the gardening conversation. I found it was fascinating, Russell. I just got to tell you.
Oh, yes. Fascinating conversation. Well done, Jess.
Right? Yeah.
We talked the shit out of gardening tonight.
We talked the manure out of it. All right, so I hope to see all of you next week. I have an interesting interview happening. God willing,
Maybe
98% sure. So I'll see you all next week. I'll see the 3 of you when I see you. So to everyone, until then, be safe, be healthy, be sane, be kind to each other. Bye.
forget about the sign.
Peace.